further education and performance of requirements which evidence their ability and qualifications to administer to the needs of others. Conduct worship services, perform dedication, funerals, weddings, and all other duties that devolve upon her as a minister and servant to mankind. I'd like to offer the opportunity right now for Reverend Maya to come up and welcome you and offer the invitation.
Welcome. That was short.
Welcome.
It's going to get long and oratory here, but we still grow and we're still expanding, and that is a great blessing. Sometimes walking in metaphysical spirituality path has its challenges, but that's just routine. But you can be assured that we'll see more of these ordinations, and we will be receiving and being blessed by people that will become part of the church. Let us bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Mother, Father, we rejoice and give thanks for all your blessings you give us each and every day. We thank you for healing us constantly as our bodies ebb and flow through time. We are mindful that all victories are handwritten with your signature, and we are mindful that our gratitude speaks directly to your heart, and that as you love us, even before the minute we were born, we have loved you all of our lives. And so it is.
So it is.
I got a lot of paperwork up here, just saying. Okay. The statement of purpose. We have come together today for the ordination into the spiritual ministry of Lulu Dell. It is never a small decision to enter into the spiritual ministry. In a world where selfishness and individual self-seeking are so common, it requires courage, idealism, and this works to turn our backs upon the lower tendencies of our common nature, to seek the highest good through loving service to God and God's will for all humanity. A minister walks in the radiance of those who came before him or her. With that said, you'll notice I wear both of my stoles. I wear my stole that I received during my original ordination in the New Awareness Ministries International, and the stole that I wear to bear in metaphysical spirituality, which has outgrown that ministry into the ministry that you will now be ordained into.
Mm-hmm.
To live in the shadow of such dedication requires self-denial and a firm resolve to do the will of God. A spiritual minister is privileged to serve as a bridge between this world and the next, depending upon their special gifts. They serve as an intermediary, a channel of inspiration from the higher world to this plane of lower vibration. The cultivation of these gifts in truth is an arduous process and a great responsibility, one that must be handled with love and compassion. Our statement of readiness. The Constitution, guidelines, and purpose of the Temple of Spiritual Awareness in this ministry provides that those persons ordained as ministers shall be licensed and certified to perform marriages, dedications, to officiate funerals, to perform and administer spiritual healing, to give spiritual counsel and communications to ordained ministers, and to perform any and all duties that devolve upon them as a minister of the living church. That's you. You're the living church, y'all. As a final step in the preparation of Lulu for the spiritual ministry, I call upon those wishing to testify that the candidate has been examined, prepared, and found worthy and is ready for the rite of ordination. At this time, I'd like to offer the opportunity for those who may bear witness to this fact for Lulu.
And I'm not the
Turn that
only
off.
You know, the first time I met Lulu, she was already serving the temple. That's one thing that has remained constant throughout her period of learning and growing, not only in spirit, but in respect to becoming clergy. And that's the hallmark of anyone on any spiritual path that wishes to live a life of spirituality, and that is to serve others. Even right now, if you need something, you need some help, you need somebody to sit with you during your dark night of the soul, no matter what she's doing, she will drop it and come and help. That is a sign that this person is ready. So some people think an ordination is something you apply for and you go through the motions and you fill out the paperwork and whoop-de-doo, you become clergy. Actually, the true ordination is just recognition of the humble servant in perpetual service to the congregation and to humankind. And that's the way Lulu has always been. So if you want to see service, if you want to see what is the evidence that someone has made the bridge from congregation to clergy, look at their service. She's always here. She has handouts, she'll speak, she heals, and we're going to put her to work right after the ordination. But that's what we do. And that is we serve and we heal. No greater thing can one human being do for another, because that is laying your life down. You're not really denying the self. We all have egos. And some days we have egos with puppies. And then some days our egos are hurt. So are there going to be fights? Are there going to be misunderstandings? Are there going to be instances where individuals clash? That's a given, because we're human. However, those of us who are clergy, we serve. I don't wear my other clergy stuff mainly because it'd be like the Mr. T starter set. So, but this is my home. This is my spiritual home. You will hear people say, well, he does Santeria, he does voodoo, he does this. Well, that's because I'm a professor, and that's what we do. We study things, and I just don't read books. I go out and do it. I can tell you the status of Santeria in the Tampa Bay community. I can tell you the status of Catholicism. but I teach at the university level. But that's part of my path, how I walk my spirituality, is my service to humankind is so people don't get stupid. And we live in a time where people will say anything and pass it off as the truth. But I'm that one guy at 2 o'clock in the morning doing drumming and running around under the moonlight. Yeah, because I want people to know, hey, rather than conjecture, here's what's really going on and why. Because in the grand scope of things, all religions, we all seek our communication and our relationship with the divine. And while I've been walking my path, I've been watching Lulu walk hers. And you will not find anyone with more humbleness, more dedication and commitment to service than Lulu down. And I'll leave you with that.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that has anything that they would like to share at this time?
It's not often that I get up and speak about people and things in church, but I just want everybody to know that when I look at Lulu and I see the beautiful human being that you are and the spirit that you are and the loving, kind soul that you are, and seeing the accomplishment that you've made, it is amazing to watch that Lulu, you are exactly what we would call the minister that we would want for this church. That being a minister is not necessarily being in a church and being a minister. Being a minister is your church is wherever you are, whether you're inside the church, whether you're outside the church, whether you're in a bar having a drink, whether you're at home making dinner for somebody, wherever you are, that's where your church is. Because you're out or you're healing somebody, or you're down the street and you see somebody that doesn't have money, and you give them some money to help them. Or you see somebody on the street that's crying, and they need help. Or perhaps you're sitting in a bus station and you see somebody that needs help. That's where your ministry is. And that's what I see you doing all the time. I see you do it on Facebook. I see you doing it here at the church. I see you over here healing. I see the wonderful, warm energy that you have as a healer. And that's the kind of person that we want. That's the kind of person that all of us strive to be as ministers. And I'm so blessed to be in the company of such a wonderful person, a wonderful spirit, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Gilman. That was very nice.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
We are now going to have the presentation of the candidate. And typically the sponsor is the person that will have the candidate escorted to their proper place here at the podium. So I'm your sponsor. So you can just come up here and sit. And what we're going to do at this time is we're going to go over the statement of purposes, but we've done that. So reading the Declaration of Principles. Typically, I would do this as the pastor. You're going to participate in this process with us this evening. So you have with your order of service a statement there of the purpose and principles of the ministry. And Reverend Sylvie Ann is going to lead us in that this evening.
Making sure people.
Also, Lulu, I wanted to say something on your behalf. I love you. And I have seen you grow. And this is just the beginning of the rest of your life, my friend. I mean, if you think when it comes to ministerial responsibilities, wait until the Holy Spirit hits you with somebody. Because they're going to come. But you know what? Because of the love and the kindness that you have, you're going to help a lot of people. And I just want to say thank you for being you, and thank you for being my friend. All right, here we go. Now let's get serious. I'm doing the leader part.
You're doing the leader
And
part. You're the leader.
And all of you are doing the people part.
Okay.
All right. We believe in the freedom of each person to worship their God however they may choose.
The
Spirit fills all space and flows through everything. There is no place where there is not. I recognize this Spirit in everything and in everyone. We believe that there is but one mind, one law, one principle, one substance in the universe, and I am one with all there is.
He is.
Yes, and we are his people. I am one with him forevermore. One in spirit, one in truth, and one in love. We believe that giving is receiving without thought of compensation. I place my whole joy in God and receive back from him the desires of my heart. We believe in the eternity, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. We believe that God is life, there is no death. I know that my soul is immortal, but I shall live forever. We believe in the spiritual healing of the sick through prayer, meditation, and divine law. The Spirit removes every sense of fear from me. The Spirit heals all my diseases. Loving kindness and tender mercy loses every sense of bondage from my mind. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of humanity, and that any person may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling Spirit of God. I know the Spirit answers me before I speak. I live in continual communion with this, my divine and universal self. I rest in peace. I love this. We believe that humanity's mental states are carried forward in manifestation and become our experience through prayer, meditation, and divine law. I know that goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I give thanks for the goodness that is mine, and I bless the love that governs me. Namaste.
So we went out of order, because that's how I like to do it.
Divine time, divine order.
But now I have it here. So I remember. Presentation of the candidate. Again, I am the sponsor. So what can I say about Lulu Dowd? Well, I'm sponsoring her in the ministry. She has been a student that has been dedicated and focused. She is a student who has shown love and desire to grow and to learn and to benefit from the knowledge that has been shared with her. She has a humble and servant's heart. She was a minister before I knew her. We just found her, that's all. Lulu, that we may know your heart in this matter, will you please come forward and answer before God and this loving assembly? As a sponsor for this candidate for ordination, you have achieved a unique distinction. Take heed that the person whom you present is prepared to exercise their ministry to honor God and the temple of spiritual awareness and the living church. Do you plan on doing that?
I plan on doing it.
Good.
You win.
I hope so. I present you, Lulu, to be admitted into the ministerial fellowship of the Temple of Spiritual Awareness. We have examined you and your character, wisdom, and gifts, and are pleased to announce that you, through seeing the need, and because of your dedication to God, respond to God's call as an ordained minister. You have been prepared and found worthy to serve God, the Temple of Spiritual Awareness, and the living church as an ordained minister, according to me, and according to God.
In the state of Florida.
And the state of Florida. Not yet. We're not there yet. Lulu, it is now my duty before the act of ordination which I shall lay upon you, the beautiful but sturdy burden of the ministry. The beautiful but sturdy burden of the ministry. To charge you with this great dignity and responsibility of the office, and to reiterate how weighty are the duties and the performance of those who choose the path of ordination. I must say, it is not an easy thing to be a minister. It is, in fact, a difficult thing to be a minister. Know that you have the support of your pastor, and know that you have the support of your fellow ministers. You have heard our explanation of the sacred calling of the spiritual ministry. In the sight of God, in the presence of those witnesses, do you, with open heart and clear conscience, accept the idealism and the duties of this ministry?
I solemnly swear.
Do you pledge to continue your devoted efforts in behalf of this cause and its spiritual truth? So help you God?
So help me God.
Do you believe that you are truly called by God to this ministry?
I do.
Do you now, in the presence of God, commit yourself to this trust and responsibility?
Yes.
Will you be diligent in seeking the knowledge of such things that will make you stronger and more able a minister?
That is my ultimate goal.
Will you endeavor so to minister the word of God that the rekindling love of spirit may be known and received?
Yes.
Will you undertake to be faithful to all whom you are called to serve? It says to your pastor, but you don't have to be faithful. Just be patient.
Just be patient.
Be patient with me.
Be
That's right, be patient. Will you labor together with us and with your fellow ministers to build up the family of God? Will you do your best to pattern your life in accordance with the teachings of Spirit so that you may be wholesome example to the people? Will you persevere in prayer, both in public and in private, asking God's grace, both for yourself and for others, and offering all your labors to God?
Always.
May the Lord, who has given you the will to do these things, give you both the grace and the power to perform them. The right hand of fellowship. At this time, I would like to offer the opportunity for those who are ministers to come forward and surround Lulu as she kneels on our bench. Now you can touch her with your right hand. It's a power prayer. Eternal Spirit, who is the God of the living church and the loving heart, send your loving benediction upon Lulu, whom you have called to service. Ordain her to your dedicated service. Make her wholly yours. Quicken within her an abiding sense of your presence and your noblest powers. Deepen her sense of fellowship with all types and conditions of humankind. Give her an understanding heart that she may counsel wisely and bring to spiritual peace all who come to her for comfort and consolation. Quicken her spiritual faculties, that she may prophesy of spirit and use well those gifts that were designed for her ministry. Make her sensitive to injustice and to all conditions that hold back the spiritual progress of her fellows. Give her courage to speak the truth and to do her part in bringing closer the kingdom of God upon this earth. Some of us have been given special abilities as apostles. To others, God has given the gift of being able to preach well. Some have been given special abilities in winning people to the sacred spirit. Still others have a gift for caring for God's people as shepherds does his sheep, leading and teaching them in the ways of God. Now, may the invisible hosts of spirit direct their blessings upon you and all of us gathered here today. May the incoming power transform your life and your soul so that henceforth you do not belong to yourself, but to others and to God. God ordains you, God blesses you, and may all power suited to your true needs be with you now and forever. Therefore, Eternal Spirit, give your Holy Spirit to Lulu, fill her with grace and power, enable her to continue as your minister and of your loving and living church. Lulu, you can stand. Ministers, you can have your seat.
Thank you, everybody. You're welcome. For all the kindnesses that you've done for me.
May God bless you and keep you. May God make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And it is done, and so it is.
So it is.
Robing of the new minister.
And this is going to be deja vu, except for the other way around.
It's a deja vu.
Deja vu. So I'm going to have you put her stole on. This is lovely.
It is.
It's the sacred poncho of spirit.
Oh, look how cute.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
My friends, you have witnessed the reaffirmation of ordination vows of a servant of God. Her work is not done alone or in a vacuum. You are the members of the living, loving church through whom her ministry must function. So we lay upon your hearts and consciences today the joyful duty of giving full cooperation to the labors of Reverend Lulu. Be faithful to this ministry. Give your ministers your enthusiastic support and your generous material, spiritual, and helpful assistance. Put your heart in this wonderful cause, and as you do so, you will receive so much more abundantly. Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
You are. I got a certificate, y'all.
Turn around, let us see. There we go.
We now give Reverend Lulu to you and you to her. May God and the forces of light bless you all in the highest fulfillment of your spiritual and material relationship.
I have a question.
No, we have a song. Sorry.
Oh, I know. I think I know. The riff of that song is really cool anyway.
I love it.
So,
Good choice.
for those of you who are unaware, one of the things that we do during the ordination is we allow the candidate to pick a song that touches their heart and expresses their relationship to Spirit. So if you think that that was unusual, actually at my ordination, I had someone sing Madonna's Like a Little Prayer.
At least you guys didn't have to listen to Madonna.
Yeah, you didn't have to listen to Madonna.
Don't put down Madonna.
I love Madonna. I'm just
So I just thought, I thought I'd share that with you. I think it's pretty amusing. So at this time, what I'd like to do is offer the opportunity for Reverend Lulu.
I have to say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, speech.
I wasn't prepared for that.
Good.
I only prepared for my thesis.
Those are the best.
Just say thanks.
Something from your heart, honey.
From your heart. From my heart? Okay.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you everybody who came on this day to share with me. It's an important day for me. Thank you, Reverend Suzanne, for not only teaching me, but pushing me to do this. You know, like you said, I was a minister already before, and you know, I kind of didn't want to do it because of the label, but I just love to serve people. And I was actually talking on the phone with my sister the other night, and you know, I was telling her about this conversation about a house I went to go look at, and with a stranger, and this lady, and she was talking about her family, and I said, oh, your family has the essence of, you know, teaching young children. And she said, oh, that's a really great observation. And she's like, well, what does your family have the essence of? And I never really stopped to think about that. And then I was thinking about it, and I said, a heart of service. And as soon as I said it in my head, I went to go say it out loud, and the lady that I was talking to said, a servant's heart. And that's correct. It's in me, it's in my mom, it's in my daughter, it's in my sister, even in my brothers that are kind of crazy. They like to serve in their own way. And I think that's the essence that our family carries. And thank you, Mom. I love you. And you too, Brianna. We're all so much very alike. We all have a good heart, a heart to serve, a caring heart, and a consoling heart. And that's my path, and I'm just glad that I can do that and live to do that, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you, everybody.
We're going to close with a benediction, but be aware that we will be having healing. We will be having healing. And we'll have it in the side room. I'll set up some music in there and some chairs for those who would like to serve as healers. For those who came for a healing, the space will be made available. And in this way, the rest of us, if you're interested in having cake and coffee, you can have cake and coffee as well, okay? And visit with Lulu. And Eternal Spirit, let us leave here today with thanksgiving and love in our hearts, knowing that we are true light workers. Fill us with your perfect love. It is done, and so it is.
And so it is.
Leave. Good